13 North Carolina football players are going to miss at least one game this season after a discovery that they sold school-issued Jordan brand shoes, which is considered a secondary violation under NCAA rules. 9 of the players, including their quarterback, are going to miss 4 games. And since multiple players share the same position, the NCAA approved a request to stagger some of the suspensions. They open on the road against Cal on September 1st. This is a story that has a variety of different tentacles in sports because it is about players getting impermissible benefits, but it is also for people who are sort of in the sneaker world, which I'm not especially, and you are, that understand just how special and unique these shoes are. This goes well beyond some of the stuff that we have normally seen.
Right. The great thing about being at UNC is you get all these player edition gear, and especially the Jordans. And I know Jalen has some pairs, like I have a few pairs, but some of these things that are hard to come by that are team issued Jordans, they go for $5, sometimes $7 grand a pair. So you get it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe how much this is worth. And you give it to the player. And now you enter that whole debate of like, well, are you really giving me the shoes? Aren't they my shoes to do what I want with? Well, no, apparently I can't because I can't sell them on what is a very competitive secondary market for these kinds of shoes.
Absolutely. I'll never forget going to the University of Michigan, arriving on campus, and all of a sudden realizing not only did I sign a letter of intent, I basically signed a shoe contract. It's just that I'm not getting paid to wear them, but I'm a billboard for them. And so that really helped spark the phenomenon that came, the black shoes, the black socks, and the long shorts.
I bought the shoes because of you guys.
Correct.
My last year playing high, I bought them because of you dudes.
Correct. So I remember the Huarache, which been re-released 3 or 4 times. Still waiting on a royalty check. This shoe, we went to Chicago one time. We walked past the Nike store. It said Fab 5 Nikes. So I'm like, okay, cool. So many times at that point in my life, you don't think I was selling them? Of course I was. I was getting them free, selling them. And so now all of a sudden you look, 25 years later, these things are like antiques. These things are like when people used to collect baseball cards or whatever. They, as Ryan mentioned, they're like really worth money.
Yeah.
These Jordans, these legacy shoes. So when you go to one of these colleges, you understand that I'm a college kid. They're selling my jersey. They're giving me gear. I should be able to do what I want to do with the gear.
It's a really interesting question. And I guess it does come back, the stakes go up, but it does really come back to the age-old question of whether something that becomes your own, that the players aren't allowed to sell their championship trophies and things like that, that they themselves earn. Now, they can do it after they graduate, but while they're in school, they can't do it. It's the whole Terrell Pryor thing with the gold pants and everything else.
Well, I can get a job when I graduate. I need the money while I'm in school.
Correct. And so it does seem unreasonable.
Part of the, hey, we don't want to do this, but I don't know if people, I think there are people probably watching this right now going, wait a minute, you can go on these websites and sell these shoes for $5, $7 grand a pair because you can't just buy them. You can't just go on a website. You can't just go to a store. I was walking around New York City the other day. There was another release, line around the block, and not everyone was guaranteed to get these shoes. This market is so valuable. And you're telling kids like $5 grand in one semester. Forget a semester. If I had an extra $5 grand 1 year in college, that would change my whole routine.
Man, I got my Pell Grant check. I was rich. I paid all my. It was when I really started to learn how to manage my money. I'm like, okay, I need to handle this.
It really is an interesting question. You're giving kids who are not allowed to take any money for anything these very valuable shoes and saying, don't do anything with them but use them yourself.
Antiques and
collector's items. It might be a ridiculous ask. I am aware of this secondary sneaker market. I know that's a very big thing, and I know some people who participate in it, but I really didn't know a lot of the details and the fact that these kids, it's an interesting topic. These college kids, you're giving them, you're basically telling them you can't take any money for anything. You can't get any extra benefits of any sort no matter what. And here, we're going to hand you these extremely valuable shoes that you could sell for thousands of dollars on the secondary market, but whatever you do, don't do it. And now these football players are going to get suspended 4 games. It's a really interesting story.
What do you think members of the Fab Five say every time we see people wearing black socks? If I got a quarter every time I saw somebody wearing some black socks, okay, I'll be a multi-millionaire. And so these things have become industries a lot of times based on the college kids being billboards for the product. And in this case, if you're going to give me an antique, if you're going to give me a collector's item, I should be able to do what I want to do with it, either keep it, sell it, or gift it.
It is interesting because if you give a football player a jersey and say, go out and play this game, whose jersey is it? Like, do the players get to keep all of that stuff?
No, from what I remember,
the school
you don't
owns
get to
the jersey,
keep
right?
all of them, but obviously if you're a player at some point, you go like, hey, I want a jersey when I'm done here, but it's not like you're keeping every week's jersey.
But I mean, the value of Deshaun Watson, the jersey that he wore in the national championship game a couple of years ago, what would that thing be worth right now if you were to sell it?
He should be able to keep it. And I applaud the young men that have the maturity to give those items back. I didn't have that. I'm taking my jersey. Okay? That's how that worked.
You did, but that is what you did in college.
No doubt. I have it hanging in the closet right now. I'll bring it in here tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not having that.
You know what? Like I felt bad about this as a kind of a side note to everything you're saying. Is there was a kid at a school played college football, and I was lucky enough to get a helmet. I got a helmet, right? Because we used to put helmets out on the show the whole time. And I realized it was a player's game used helmet because I could line up the helmet from when they played the game in a huge bowl game. And then I interviewed that guy when he was in the NFL. And I said, hey, by the way, I think I have your helmet from this game. And he's like, seriously? He's like, I don't have that.
Yeah.
He's like, why do you have it? And I actually felt guilty about it a little bit.
And I don't want to throw any shade at like equipment managers, but just think about it like this. They're in control of all of those items. They get paid by the university. You don't think they don't gift them to family and friends and have secondary markets where they're able to profit off of it? Of course they do.
For the record, no shade being thrown from any equipment managers.
No, not at all. Not at all. I still know Michigan's equipment guy. I'm begging him for shoes now. Bobby Bland, send your boy some 15s.